Are you feeling exhausted by the same rotation of meals week after week? And then you add the exhaustion of a long work day, plus all of your kids' after school activities. How can we make dinner simple, fast, and enjoyable? Well, today, Chef Debbie Kornberg is going to show us how. I'm Norma Flood, and I'm an integrative and functional nutritionist. Welcome to Go With Your Gut. Hello, Debbie. Great to see you in your kitchen there. Beautiful. I love all the spices you have there. How are you doing today?
Good morning. Thank you. I'm doing great. I'm ready to talk spices. I'm so excited to be with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I am very excited to have you here today. You've got lots to talk about, it appears. So before we dive in, I'd like to share your background because it's pretty incredible. Debbie is the founder and CEO of Spice and Leaf and Spice It Up with Deb, a live cooking experience where she blends her passion for education with her expertise in spices. She empowers home cooks through her engaging and easy to follow recipes. I like that, while enhancing their culinary skills by incorporating bold, authentic flavors into their dishes. And for the past 9 years, Debbie has been a monthly contributor on Fox 5 San Diego Morning News, where she shares her creative ideas for cooking with spices, and has also been recognized in the San Diego Union Tribune and Times of San Diego for her work in the culinary space. And Debbie is the 2025 Woman-Owned Small Business Owner of the Year by California State Assembly member Tasha Borner, District 77. And we also have something in common, as she is often a guest chef, while I am a guest speaker at Rancho La Puerta Wellness Resort and Spa.
That's how we met.
So again, yes. And my brain, it's like, you are familiar for some reason. And I actually found you through another organization in San Diego County. So very interesting that our paths have crossed again. So before you begin with all this, these exciting ideas, I'd love to hear, Debbie, just before you were a chef, like where did this interest in cooking start for you? At what age was it?
Well, I can't remember a time when I wasn't cooking. Growing up as a child, I always was in the kitchen helping. I have so many fond memories of being in my grandmother's kitchen. She had this, circa 1970s avocado green step stool that I would be there on the counter helping her. And so many of the recipes that I use stemmed from her. To this day, I still use her salad dressing recipe. It's iconic in our household. I'm not allowed to serve salad without her salad dressing, my Nana's salad dressing. And really cooking with spices and exploring flavors, it's just really been a part of me. And I always love being in the kitchen. I love entertaining. We always have people over. So it's just, it's in my innards. So that is certainly where my passion for cooking began, was, growing up in my family's household.
And I just want to speak to that even a little bit, because we forget how tradition and having our kids involved in the kitchen from a very young age, how important that is. And I'm at fault for that sometimes because we're always rushed and running around and trying to make a quick meal, and the kids don't even see how the food was prepared or what's involved. So thank you for that reminder for all of us, just getting kids in the kitchen from an early age. And we see how it had such a great influence on you. So
it can be a simple task too. It's not like, they don't have to be boiling the water at the stove, but they can be doing things in the kitchen, sous chefing and assisting you.
When I was a kid, I was always the peeler because there were 11 of us kids. And, but my mom would wait until she was stressed and she'd be screaming across down the hallway, somebody get in here and help me. Out of desperation.
I've been there.
Peel the potatoes.
All hands on deck. Yeah, all hands on deck.
Yes. So for you, when did this become a career for you? Did you know, like, you know what, I'm going to culinary school. I just know this is in my blood. Where did that path lead you?
So this is actually a second career for me. My first career in educational training was in education, have a master's in education. And for the first 20 plus years of my career, I was an administrator for schools here in San Diego also, actually where my kids went to school. So that was really great. Of course, I always incorporated cooking wherever I was because I think for kids, it's so important to have that exposure. It opens them up to foods that they may not want to eat, but when they make it themselves, they love it more. So that was my first career, was education. And I transitioned out of working in schools to working for a nonprofit, still in the education space, but I was on the programming side, which meant I got to grant out money for a nonprofit. And I happened to be responsible for this very large festival here in San Diego and thought it would be really amazing to have this marketplace where people could go shopping and to have spices. So part of my previous job was I got to go to the places where we were granting out money all around the world. And I thought it would be cool to bring a spice company. So I literally brought a spice company from Israel here and knew nothing about customs, FDA, food handler license. What is that? And navigated 9 months later and had this amazing culinary experience for the participants. There were like 5,000 people that came to the festival. And the farm that I had brought where they blend their spices thought it'd be really amazing to open up a store here in San Diego. And I kind of laughed it off and said, I have a job. I'm good. This is where I'm supposed to be. And I kept thinking about it. And thinking about it, and I thought about it for 1.5 years and talked to people and said, what do you think? And in the end, I decided I was going to try it, and I had nothing to lose. I can always go back to education. And that was 11 years ago, actually almost 12 now. So here I am still doing education. I've just repurposed what I'm educating about, as opposed to in a formal classroom setting. We're here doing experiential learning is what I like to call it, because we're experiencing the food, it's hands-on, and being able to educate people how to use spices in their cooking. That was a lot. There you go.
No, it just shows you that, life leads the way. You follow your passion and what comes natural to you, and here you are. So what do you especially enjoy? Because you talk about now how you love to teach, and now you especially love to teach about cooking. So in what ways do you enjoy doing that?
So many ways. I mean, the spectrum of ages, all demographics. I love working with kids. I love working with kids on the spectrum who have special needs. It is absolutely amazing to watch them feel confident in the kitchen. Maybe they don't have as great motor skills, and so fine motor skills to hold a knife or to do things. It teaches them, communication. They have to read, they have to taste, they have to use math and measure, like all those skills, and the social skills that go along with it is absolutely amazing. So kids for sure, Girl Scout troops, Girl Scout badges, definitely the cooking badge. And then I love working with adults because we all get stuck in our rut of making the same thing, what are we going to make today? And I find myself in that. And I fortunate enough that I have a pantry filled with our spice and leaf products, but I do the same thing because I'm working all day. I've got to get dinner on the table like everybody else. It doesn't just magically appear. But having some companion products in your pantry to help you elevate the flavor of your food. So one, you're excited about it, and maybe expose people here to flavors they haven't. I really focus a lot on global flavors and blends. So here I have a bunch of single spices, but in front of the cups and over here are blends to really help, first of all, take the work out, because when you've got to get dinner on the table for a bunch of hungry kids or a hungry spouse or just yourself, whatever it is, you don't want to be messing around to do everything. You want something quick and easy. And so the blends really just help you sprinkle it on. Some pan-seared chicken, you can have dinner ready in 20. Fish, sprinkle it on top, olive oil, pan-sear it, or just put it in the oven so you can work on maybe making a side salad or some roasted vegetables and things like that. But really, I come from a place of wanting to help. And wanting people to feel good and to feel confident in the kitchen, that no matter where you are in what you perceive as your skill set of cooking, that you can make a delicious meal and feel great about it and feel that you're nourishing your body and soul.
Right. I mean, I'll share that. A lot of times, even though I'm a nutritionist, when it comes to cooking, that's the part that feels like work, right? We can talk all about what we should eat or what we need to eat, but when it comes down to putting the food on the table, especially after a long work day and juggling all the extracurricular activities with kids these days, it's like you get home and everyone's hungry. And even when you do have a plan, for me, I get sick of the same foods, and so did my kids. Like, oh,
For sure.
chicken again,
Yeah.
oh, fish again, and I prepare it the same way. And I find that when you get tired or burnt out on your own cooking, you do not enjoy cooking. It's almost like I hate cooking. Like oh gosh, it's 5 o'clock. What am I making for dinner tonight? Right. But I'll admit, when I saw your spices, I bought a couple online, and here, I even brought them along.
Ooh.
Like, there was one I found. I just have to share. I was so shocked. It's called Baharat.
Very good. Yes, Baharat. We'll talk about it. I used it today.
Baharat.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but it has such a blend that, when I normally make my butternut squash, I bake it, I put olive oil, salt and pepper. Okay, it's good. But then I put that spice on there and it tasted like caramelized butternut squash, and there was no sugar on it. And then I roasted some nuts, and it's like everyone's like, oh, this is so good. And then you feel good about it. And then you enjoy making it, and it's still quick and easy. So that's what I love about, the thought of your spices is you spice it up. Like, you really do. There's a sense of, oh gosh, I'm actually making a meal that everyone can be excited about, including myself.
So it starts with the smell.
That was great.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That warms my heart so much to hear you say that. And we're going to unpack Baharat spice and what it is. But I want to go back to what you said earlier, because, when you feel this onus responsibility of like, what am I going to make for dinner? Step one is, make sure you've got some good ingredients in your fridge, which requires a little food prep, right? To go shopping and have some organized time to figure out what are you going to make this week, or an idea of it. Like a cauliflower, some salmon, some chicken, butternut squash, whatever it may be, but you may not know what you're going to do with it, but a general plan. And then the second thing I'm going to say is, cooking from love, food tastes so much better. When you feel, because you're there's something about it when I cook angry, like if I'm pissed off about something, it's just not going to happen. I mean, we all have our bad days in the kitchen. No joke,
Right.
right? But if we
Yeah.
have a little bit of mindset and intentionality of like, okay, I'm nourishing my family. I really want to get a nice dinner on the table. I want to be able for us to have our family time and have a great family conversation, hear about everybody's day. And the meal helps do that. And then I think it's the third thing I'll say is smell. So when you're using spices, you're already getting people excited about the cooking because they're going to come in and go like, ooh, what is that? That smells good, Mom. You know, whatever it is, whether the Ras al Baharat is such a great example of that. And you let me know when you're ready to talk about that. But I just want to talk like the meal prep side of it. You know, it does take time. Even if it's 30 minutes, it's that mindset. You come home from a long day and now you got to turn into your home version of yourself. And, you know, for me, that's usually pulling my hair back and putting on some sweats and like, okay, I'm ready now.
Well, even too, a little trick for everyone, if you get, chopping takes a while sometimes. And it's nice if you can do it with your kids and you're talking about their day. But a lot of times I'm alone in the kitchen. Sometimes I just have to have music on or listen to a podcast or, whatever it might be to kind of just put you in a better state of mind.
Absolutely. It's so funny you say that because my family knows there's like two main things I love to listen to when I'm cooking. We do a big family dinner on Friday night for the Jewish Sabbath. And so it's Billy Joel. That's what I listen to Friday, food prepping, getting dinner on the table. And if we're having a lot of company over and I need high energy, it's disco. Like, that's just me. That's what I need. So I'm just like moving and grooving to the music.
Yeah, it helps.
Absolutely.
And it adds that good energy into the meal.
Yes.
Yes.
So here's my Baharat here. Yeah, I think I have a jar here. Yes. So this is the Baharat, and I'm just going to do a close up for 1 sec so people can really see it here. So Baharat you can think of as a pumpkin spice, but savory. It's a savory pumpkin spice. And so it has all those great anti-inflammatory spices. It's cinnamon, ginger, cardamom, cloves, allspice, and also some black pepper and some coriander, maybe a little bit of cumin, and then it gives it a savory undertones to it, but you still get those sweet notes of the cinnamon and the cardamom and the cloves, a little citrusy. So it makes perfect sense that you would use that with a butternut squash. You can use it with chicken. You can use it with fish. It's like an all-purpose blend. And Baharat is actually Arabic for spices. It's the Arabic word for spices in the plural. And so I know you guys can't smell it, but it smells so good, guys, right out there. Just putting it out there, right? There you go. It just has those warm notes. And often in the United States, we do not have go-to blends the way other cultures do. So like India, you have curries and masalas. In the Arab world, the region, like from Turkey all the way to Iraq and the whole region in between, they have Baharat. It may not be the exact same ingredients and measurements, but it has those foundational ingredients of the cinnamon, the ginger, the cloves, the cardamom, some coriander, some black pepper, some things to make it savory. If you go further into like North Africa, you might end in Yemen, and they have something called Hawaiish, which is similar to this also. And it's really following the spice trail of, the spice industry from the 1500s, right? In the Middle Ages, when they were making their ways all around that area. And so everybody took their own variation of it. Another one is called Ras al Khanut, which is this here.
How do you spell that?
R-A-S, new word, E-L, new word, H-A-N-O-U-T. So it's Arabic. It means head of the store. Ras is head. Khanut is store. And it's considered the crown jewel spice of Moroccan cooking. So you go to Morocco, you go into the spice market, and everybody has their own special version of Ras Al Hanout. It is, I would say, a more complex version of the Baharat. It usually has anywhere between 20 to 100 ingredients. It often has floral notes like rosebuds or lavender, and it is more complex in its flavors. And again, it's a go-to blend for everything, for vegetarian stews, for fish, for meat, for chicken. And like you noticed, I'm sure the butternut squash with the Baharat suddenly felt really hearty. It's not just a simple dish, right? And it comes from using those warm spices, just elevates it and gives it that little extra something, and suddenly it's a wonderful hearty dish. I don't know if you made it into a stew or if you just baked it.
I have to admit, it was mostly on like things that I've been baking, like veggies, sweet potato, butternut squash. But I will next time put it on my salmon and chicken, expand a little bit.
What I was going towards is you could take your butternut squash stew, put it in a pot, add some garbanzo beans, add some diced tomatoes to it, a little garlic, and let that cook, maybe a little tomato paste and water, and add the Baharat to it. And it is going to be a really hearty dish that you could serve over rice, over couscous, over quinoa. And suddenly you've got these very simple ingredients, but by adding spice combinations, it feels more than just butternut squash, right? And garbanzo beans.
Yeah, it tastes right. It tastes like you put so much time into it, right? And I'll admit, if I see a recipe that has like more than 7 ingredients, I'm like, yeah, no. Or you have to buy 10 different spices, or you just don't know what flavors to put together. It's like it's so easy to grab this and just sprinkle it on, and it's done.
Are there spices that you find in your dietitian, nutrition world that are particularly good for your gut? Because I'm curious what I have here and how we stack up.
Oh, gosh. I'm more, there's fennel. Like, I think fennel is really big. Of course, garlic. Oregano is antimicrobial, killing out our harmful microbes.
Yeah.
So I find a lot of Italian seasonings, especially oregano.
So oregano,
is a big
basil,
one.
Thyme,
basil,
rosemary. Those are all good for an Italian herb. And I have some of those here. I've got some, here, I'll zoom in here and kind of show you. So I've got some rosemary.
So some are anti-inflammatory, some are antimicrobial, and more research is showing that the more spices you cook with, the more you're helping out your microbiome to really stay in balance. Some of these, like I said, antimicrobial, inflammatory, they provide good nutrients for some of our bacteria. And it tastes better. So it's like a win-win-win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I don't know if you've ever heard of nigella seeds. Here, I'll show you this one. These are little black seeds that look like sesame seeds, but they're darker in color and they're kind of triangle shaped, and they're often known as the black cumin seed. And they're really heart healthy, great for lowering cholesterol. Those are things you could just like sprinkle on a salad or your avocado toast in the morning, things like that, which are really good too. I did bring some food. If you want to see some food that I brought, or I don't know if you have other questions for me, fire away.
I mean, I'd love to jump right in the food. We can always go back and forth and see where it takes us.
Yeah, sure. So this is cauliflower. It's a whole cauliflower. Let me see if I zoom in and get it a good shot.
That has been a more popular item on the menu eating out, I've noticed. Like they'll serve almost like appears to be almost a whole head for one person.
Yes, I should.
So
This is not for one
tell
person.
me about this.
This is not for one person.
No.
But
No.
so this is a great vegan dish. You know, sometimes you're hosting people, you don't know what to make for them. Butternut squash stew is another great one with the garbanzo beans. But what I have on the bottom is quinoa, and I actually did spice it up with the baharat. So I took boiling water, and once it took water, brought it to a boil, I added the baharat spice to flavor the water. And that's one of the things I love sharing with people, is you can use spices and incorporate it into all aspects of your dish. So using it as a flavor agent, you're creating a broth. But it's just spices. So most of my blends are salt-free, so you can add your own salt to it. Obviously, no sugar, no caking agents, and whatnot. And so I cooked the quinoa like so, and then I roasted some vegetables, and this was just what I had in my fridge today. So this is what I made for you. These were the leftovers from Super Bowl this weekend.
Well, thank you.
I know, I'm going to bring you some. And then I had some roasted bell peppers and tomatoes, so I threw those in. And then and I sprinkled some roasted vegetable seasoning on those. It's a great all-purpose blend. And for anybody listening out there, the products are available on Amazon, and I have lots of recipes on the website that you can refer to. So I don't want to just leave everybody high and dry. I really want to make sure you can go to spiceandleaf.com and grab that.
And I'll leave some links for sure at the bottom of the podcast.
Awesome.
For sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So for the whole cauliflower, you take boiling water. They always say never watch a pot boil. This one you want to watch. You don't want to leave the kitchen because I add 3 tablespoons of shawarma seasoning blend to this, it's got a lot of turmeric in there, so you get that beautiful yellow color. And you boil it first in the water with some garlic and salt for about 10 minutes so that the whole cauliflower is cooked. But if you don't watch your pot, if it bubbles over, you're going to get a hot yellow mess on your stove, and you do not want that. I've been there. I've tried to multitask a little bit too much.
Yeah, been there, done that.
So then you'll take this out, let it drain, and so that all the liquid releases, and turn up your oven to about 450 degrees and let it roast. And that's where you get all this nice, yummy crispiness. I made a little bit of tahini sauce. So I took tahini butter, which is just ground up sesame seeds. You can get it in pretty much everywhere these days. It's pretty accessible. And I added a little bit of water, lemon juice, garlic, and the more water you add, the looser the tahini will become. When tahini is a paste, it's like peanut butter. It's got the consistency of peanut butter. It's a healthy fat. And so the more water you add to it, the looser it will become. And I drizzled that over on top. And then I put some hummus and tahini seasoning on top. So it looks like a very composed dish. And I'm going to just grab my knife so you can see what it looks like on the inside, because it's pretty cool when you cut it open, because you can see the colors of it.
I think it just makes it more fun for kids to eat too, when they see something different and it's colorful, and it's almost like you're cutting this miniature tree.
They can cut their own. So, it's flavorful. This one does take a little bit more work because you've basically got 4 components to it. You've got the quinoa, the roasted vegetables, cauliflower part 1, cauliflower part 2, and the tahini sauce. Yeah. But, for a special occasion, this is a great dish. And then the other item I made, which is really simple, this is a weekday dish, is just roasted carrots. I added some kebab seasoning. Carrots are sweet, so I added more of a savory flavor to it. And I drizzled some olive oil and added caper, so you get a little bit of acid in there, and just threw that in the oven. You could drizzle this if you want to go on the sweet side with maybe a little bit of honey, or you could go tahini. I didn't do anything. I just kept it like this. But these are great. You could add roasted beets to this also. And so you've got beets and carrots and just a really nice flavor combination here.
Yeah, and I like that your spices add so much to vegetables, especially because with kids that get used to eating more ultra processed foods, they're used to these extremely flavorful foods, almost like addicting quality to
That's
them.
so
And
interesting.
so
Yeah.
by adding this when they first eat vegetables, they might be too earthy or bland to them or boring. And by adding some spice, especially some that are a little on the sweet side or, might not, I think it just adds better flavor, makes it more interesting and hopefully enjoyable for them to try.
Absolutely.
So it's a start.
Absolutely. And,
Mhm.
using those warm spice blends like Ras Al Hanout or Baharat gives the impression that they're eating something sweet when, it's actually really good for you. It balances your sugar
Mhm.
levels. And certainly you can go more on the savory side with a shawarma blend or a kebab blend. And super versatile just because we think kebab, we think ground beef and meat patties. It doesn't have to be that way. It's really tasting it and balancing it out with different flavor profiles for sure.
And you could even make veggie kebabs
Oh yeah,
with tofu.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yes, but having all of that together. So when you're working with families, if I could ask, what questions do you get most? Because when you're doing the classes, let's say, is it just the kids? Is it the parents and the kids? Um, how do one of your classes go? And what are a lot of questions these days that parents are like, I need more ideas here. I know for what I hear is what's a quick breakfast? What's a lunch they can pack to school? Sometimes it's not just about that quick dinner.
Right.
How do you respond to that?
So dinner is a great time to meal prep, first of all, and have leftovers. So if you have a
Hmm.
leftover chicken or fish to put it into, a wrap sandwich. So that way you have something already ready to go for the next day and you can meal prep it as you're cleaning up dinner. For kids, they're excited I'd say the more gadgets, the better when kids are cooking. Like, let them use the
Yeah.
food processor, let them use the blender, lay down the ground rules of who gets to press what button. And, when they have the ownership of something, they feel so good about it, teaching them how to use a knife and how to tuck in their knuckles and, going slow. So, those are great, first of all, life skills. When your hopefully kids one day will leave the house, whether they're going off to college or whatnot, that they have that. And even for my kids, they eventually come back with like, how did you make that? What was the Asian noodle recipe? So giving them some basic skills so that they can feel empowered. And if you're not home, I didn't prep it today, but even being able to make some quick, healthy dips when they get home from school, so they're not touching the stove, but they can go in and get the plain Greek yogurt and add some tzatziki dip mix to it, mix it up, and have some vegetables so they can, so they can feel empowered to be able to make their own snacks, have hummus available for them with some veggies. Those are great, super filling. And even maybe having them make their own hummus. So that way, again, they're owning it. When kids and consider growing herbs and spices or herbs and vegetables in your backyard and having them tend
Mhm.
to them. That's another great way because they're going through the whole cycle and the life of the plant and being able to pull up that carrot and bring it in and cut it up and add it to a salad or roast it. They're going to feel really excited about it. Kids' questions is mostly, am I doing this right? They're worried about it being right. And what I often say, and I will actually say for adults too, I really encourage to cook with your eyes. How does it look to you? How does it smell to you? How does it taste? Taste your food as you go. That's one of the things I really encourage when I work with adults is taste as you go. Does it need a little more salt? Maybe you want to add sumac, which is a great salt alternative that has that lemon acidic flavor. And the other thing I love reminding adults is when you're chopping, um, think about the size of whatever it is, whether it's chicken or a vegetable or a piece of fruit. How is it going to get cooked? When you cook things smaller, it cooks faster. So if you're trying to get dinner on the table and you have these ginormous pieces of potato, it's going to take a really long time to cook. But if you cut it a little bit smaller, it will cook faster, and that will enable you to, you know, get through all your steps so that you can make a beautiful dinner.
Yeah, that is definitely one trick I always have, cutting things smaller so they roast quicker in the oven. Exactly. As long as I don't have the heat too high and then burn them.
Right. Timer.
Yeah.
The other thing I'll say also is when you cut things smaller, if you're composing a salad or whatever it is, you are able to get a bite of everything in whatever it is that you're making. When things are too big, you get one bite of chicken, and then maybe you'll get whatever you've incorporated with it, mushrooms or onions. So that way, when you're enjoying your food, that you can be able to eat everything together and get all those wonderful flavors.
So, yeah, and just to step back on something that you said, like when you cook, you're always cooking extra. That especially helps. The leftovers make a big difference, take away a lot of stress when it comes to food prep, especially for lunchtime, when you have extra protein, veggies, and all that you can put into a wrap, making extra. I'm going to try that butternut squash chickpea stew. You have extra stew that you can put in a thermos, and sometimes I'll mix quinoa in there or something. But putting that in a thermos to stay warm till lunchtime.
Love that. That's a great idea.
And even breakfast. Yeah, I'll take leftover roasted butternut squash or roasted potato, and I'll have that with my eggs in the morning. Yeah, or I'll stir fry together, like eggs, leftover vegetables, leftover carb, whatever it was from the night before. So knowing that we can get a lot out of leftovers. So I definitely always make too much on purpose.
For sure.
To save time.
Yeah. And if you don't think you're going to use it, you can always freeze it so that there's something ready to go.
Another thing too, you were talking about how kids, learning how to cook and being involved. I noticed that for my kids anyway, most of the time it did feel like a chore, and they were happy to help. And a lot of times it would be fun. But definitely in college, one, they got really sick of the food in the dorm. And they become very interested. First, they appreciate home cooking even more.
Yeah.
And then they become even more motivated to learn those extra details or those steps in cooking. Like they would recall what I would make, but it's like, wait, how did you make that again? And I notice how they've really come around. Like my daughter, Quinn, she's a senior in college now, and really enjoys cooking and, finds it stressful sometimes, of course, too, but has found ways to make it easy and good tasting. And I'm definitely going to be sending her some spice. But my son, he's a freshman in college, and he's in that phase like, okay, this summer's going to be all about learning how to really nail it down with cooking. So when I rent, and I'm cooking for myself, I know what the heck I'm doing.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. How old are your kids now?
My kids are 25 and 28. So they're post-college and working. So they also, they're on a fixed budget. So they appreciate knowing how to cook so that they're not spending all their dollars eating out. And of course, that's healthier. So yes, they do come and raid my pantry.
Yes.
Take things. But yeah, like my son is, he's a great sous chef here in the kitchen and helps me out so much. He lives here in San Diego. Our daughter lives in Boston. But we'll definitely get the phone calls, or can you send me this recipe? How did you make this? It's great. There's there are a lot of things you want to do for your kids to know that they're going to be successful in providing them an education and, life skills. I really do believe involve knowing how to cook and being able to take care of yourself that way. It's not just take care of yourself on the outside, but take care of yourself on the inside as well. And so I would say, teach your
Right.
kid how to swim, teach them how to cook, give them an education.
Right. One other thing I want to touch on is your favorite quick meals. So yeah, I'll just give an example of mine. We were out of town, so last night, at least I always have frozen shrimp in the freezer. I had still, luckily, some salad that was good, that I could throw together, quick quinoa. So making like a salad mix grain protein bowl, throwing things together, because you always need those meals, those go-to meals when you have less time. What are your favorites?
So one of them is a shawarma chicken. So I'll take a, package of chicken, boneless breast, cut it up into small pieces and pan sear it, and it's ready in 15. Saute some onions and mushrooms with it. So that is for sure. And then I can put that on a salad. You can serve it with rice. If we have pita bread, sometimes we'll, do street food style and put it in that way with some cucumber tomato salad, hummus, tahini, and you're good to go. That is for sure one. Another one of my favorite fast meals is seared ahi poke or seared ahi tuna. And I use our espresso barbecue rub with that one. Put that on top. So I'll just take a ahi steak and coat it with the espresso barbecue rub, pan sear, and we like the fish still raw on the inside, so it's just got the sear on the outside, and so that is a super fast meal. The prep that's required is making sure you have fresh fish.
Right away, my dietitian had just bing, I'm always afraid, like I can go out for sushi, but I'm always afraid to like do seared ahi myself at home. So you, like you said, you go to a market where there's fresh fish.
Yes. So there's a couple places here in San Diego that I like to go to. Some are where they're catching the fish. It's from the port. But there are local places where I live also that I know the quality of the fish is safe, and sashimi grade is the word that you're looking for. So that way you can cook it on the outside, but it can still be raw on the inside. So you want to find sashimi grade ahi tuna. Another fast meal for me, we do a lot of fish in the house. So we'll do salmon, and I can season it with like pretty much everything I have here, and it'll taste good. You can do it with a za'atar blend, a shawarma blend, a baharat blend, a kebab blend. They all go with it. Some lemon juice, olive oil in the oven, it goes. If you like it crispy on the outside, you can pan sear it first and then stick it in the oven. That's one of our go-tos. Trying to think what else. We don't do a lot of meat in the house. It's not that we're anti. We just stick more to poultry and fish and vegetarian. And actually, one of my other favorite meals is using those really hearty mushrooms. I don't know if you've gotten into that at all, but like the lion's mane mushrooms, you can chop them up, and I treat it like chicken. My son's pescatarian, so when he's here, it's just easier to kind of lean that way, or always have an option for him if we are doing meat or poultry. But I'll take the mushrooms and saute those up also with a shawarma blend, and stir fries. I don't know if you do stir fries at home or not, but those are also really easy. Yes. And, with some rice or rice noodles, sometimes that's fun. And I don't have it out here, but like a 5-spice Chinese blend, I cook with coconut aminos, so I lean into that, a little sesame oil.
Oh, yes, I love those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fresh ginger, fresh garlic. So those are kind of our staples. Trying to think what else.
Hmm.
Salad. The other one I'll say is a really hearty bowl or salad with quinoa, sweet potato diced, and like more of a chopped salad. So you can add chicken to that also if you want, or you can keep it vegetarian.
Yeah, I think what I do, but again, this is why sometimes my rotation gets boring. Like you can have Meatless Monday where you do something like a butternut squash, bean, chili, or whatever it might be. And then I'll do a shrimp night, whether it's a shrimp bowl with quinoa and salad, a cabbage salad and all that, and avocado and pumpkin seeds. I always have a chicken night every week, but I always make double the chicken, so that one night I might serve it with like maybe baked potatoes and a vegetable. But then the next day you have leftover chicken to put on a huge green salad with some kind of side, or sometimes it's chicken with we can't have gluten, so it's like a gluten-free pasta. But yes, and that's why I try to tell parents too, is you could even do theme nights, like, okay, it's Meatless Monday, Taco Tuesday, Chicken Wednesday, Salmon Thursday, and I think that's always helped me when I grocery shop, putting my list together on Sunday, which I know is the worst day to shop and everyone's at the store. But,
That works.
it gets you ready for the week. Because like you said, if the ingredients aren't there, but again, that's where I hit this rut. Like, okay, it's Meatless Monday. I guess I'll make the same thing. So it's nice to have different spices, spice it up
Right.
a little, quite literally. And we do have, different ideas online as well. But adding your spices, you can modify any of those recipes.
And you're not adding 10
So yeah,
different ingredients. You're pulling out your pantry of spices. I mean, this is not my normal. This is my normal, right? Is coming here and being
right,
like, okay, what do I feel like using today? Fish
right.
tacos is another great one. You can grill them. They don't have to be fried. Um, and for kids in particular, sometimes what gives them ownership is having, whether it's a potato bar or a fish taco bar or an avocado toast bar, where you can have breakfast for dinner and, with eggs and things. And that's kind of fun also, where they get to build their own, uh,
Hmm.
whatever it is, fancy toast. It's fancy toast to me. It's salad on toast with avocado and an egg, but you can get really creative with textures and things like that.
Moving on, I think keeping it fun, like you said, the kids getting involved. Um, you do summer camps too, don't you? Like just when kids have more time, do you find there's more families interested
So
in those types of?
there's a couple places I work with. So I work with some organizations that we've built together what we call culinary camp. So it's an opportunity after they've actually been at day camp all day to be able to come and cook with me for like 3 hours, and it's really fun. It's the classes I offer are usually because somebody has expressed interest in me doing something. I don't necessarily have like always ongoing classes, but I do a lot of private cooking workshops for nonprofits, for team building, law firms, organizations that are looking to be able to do something. It's a lot of fun to bring teams together to do something informal and interactive, and then people can be able to sit down and have a meal. So that's more of what I offer. I don't have just like an every week cooking class, at least not yet. Maybe I will after this. I don't know.
I know. I see. I'm starting to feel a need for that. So if I, as a parent looking you up, at least I could, and again, I'll include these links for people to find you and your products. At least I could go on Amazon where all your spices are easily ordered.
Yeah, and on my
And then,
website, I have a ton of recipes, a ton of recipes
right.
that and I actually organize the spices not breakfast, lunch, dinner I made the decision, and for me, in my head, it made sense. But I actually organized the recipes by the spices. So if you get shawarma,
Oh.
you know you're going to have 3 recipes to use it. Actually, I think the cauliflower is one of them. Roasted cauliflower, a salmon dish with yogurt sauce, and the shawarma chicken. So, if you
Hmm.
go to Za'atar, you're going to have a Za'atar salmon dish and maybe a Za'atar spiced flatbread and one other thing I can't remember off the top of my head. But that's really how I try to organize it, is so that I'm helping to educate you along the way of here's how you use this spice, and you can get your meals prepped along the way.
Nice. So I can look up my spice and see all
Baharat.
the options I have.
Yeah, there's a Baharat
Yes.
pomegranate chicken. There's a Baharat
Mm.
couscous. Trying to think what the other one is. I can't remember the third one. But anyway, and what I will say is to anybody watching this, if you have questions about spices, you can always email me. If there's something in particular you're wondering what to do, I'm very responsive at getting back to people for, help. And you can't believe how many text messages I get from friends on Thanksgiving or like a
Oh my
holiday. It's
gosh.
like, how could I? And, or somebody I met that I did something, and I always respond. I always respond.
Sounds like you need to put out a holiday book as well, like
You're
a
not
resource
wrong.
book. There you go. Or holiday class.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So you mentioned breakfast. I'd love to hear what's your favorite breakfast?
I make flaxseed granola. I don't know how exciting that is for
Mm.
people out there, but that's my go-to is flax seeds. I soak it in water. I add what we have. I didn't put it out. It's an oatmeal spice blend. So it's more gingery than pumpkin spice, but kind of
Oh, I
similar.
love ginger.
It's also great to add to coffee in the morning. It's those anti-inflammatories. I need that personally. And so it's the flaxseed granola. It has almonds and raisins and pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. And so I meal prep that. So I bake it, I make it in advance. You can't just do it day of. And that way I have it stored in the pantry. One of my other favorite breakfasts is chia seed pudding. As an
Hmm.
alternative to oatmeal. I love oatmeal, but it doesn't always love me, so I try to do it in moderation. So I'll do chia seeds with blueberries and the oatmeal spice blend. That's one of my favorites. When it comes to breakfast, I'm a creature of habit, and I have like probably 4 things that I'll just rotate through. Um, if I have time, I would do an avocado toast with an egg and some arugula, and I'll do some white balsamic on there and olive oil, and I feel kind of bougie in the morning, but that's when I have time. Mornings, I'm like,
Yes, we need.
yeah. So there's that. I'm trying to think. My husband really likes to make like gluten-free pancakes on the weekends, so sometimes he'll do that. And I will say, like starting to cook with your kids, the weekends is a great time because it's not rushed. It's something fun to do pancakes or waffles. My son in 5th grade did a restaurant program, and to this day, I believe that that's where he like fell in love with the cooking, was learning how to make pancakes. And he has been in making waffles, and he loves waffles so much that he took out when he went to college, he took our waffle maker from when we got married, which was like 1992. He has it.
It
It
lasts.
lasts. Those $9.99 waffle makers, man, I'm telling you. Uh, so, I just kind of thinking about kids and how to get them started and the buy-in. Sunday mornings, Saturday mornings are a great day to be able to do that. Those are kind of my breakfasts that I rotate through. Sometimes at like a gluten-free toast, with cottage cheese and fruit. There's always fruit in my breakfast. Berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries,
Mhm.
pears. Those are mango. Those are my go-tos that I like to circulate through. And for lunch, I'll say one of my favorite salads, might sound weird to people. I love parsley. I am Debbie Kornberg and I love parsley and I love making a
Wow.
parsley salad. I know, I feel really strong about that. It's
Oh,
so good for you. It's super high in
it
vitamin
is.
C. And people treat it like a garnish. It's not a sidekick. It can be your main ingredient. And so I'll take pear, parsley, mint, and quinoa and make that into a salad. And some slivered almonds, and I am a happy camper. So,
Wow. Yeah.
anyways,
Parsley is usually the background green for me. It's mixed in there, but
yeah.
it's not, it's got a strong flavor. But yeah, if you add the right things, I'm sure it's a good blend.
So it's just,
Yeah.
I like herb.
And
I like the herbs. I love fresh basil, fresh mint, parsley. A tabbouleh salad is, parsley based ingredient, and I'll sub out
mhm.
the grain for a quinoa and do a quinoa spice tabbouleh with some za'atar and sumac. I'm getting
Yeah,
hungry.
I cook gluten free as well. So I'm hearing you on all those alternatives, right? When you said tabbouleh, yep, you got to use the quinoa, without the gluten. Yeah, it's easier than we think. But and I do, you mentioned breakfast. It's true that most of us you have fewer options that you rotate at breakfast just because it's busier time, you're in a hurry and you just have your quick go-to and a little more time on the weekend. But I like how you mentioned granola because I think, cold cereal is a common option that people go for. But if they know they could make like a homemade granola, like I
Yeah.
have a recipe for a crock-pot granola where you can choose your gluten-free sprouted oats and add lower sugar, and using your spices, it tastes sweeter on its own. Oh gosh, I think I have another idea for this spice now.
Yes.
I'm going to add it
The
to my
Baharat.
crock-pot granola.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
spiced nuts, that would be really good on spiced nuts, even with a little, you can obviously honey or
Yes.
agave or, whatever the sweetener of choice is. But those blends are really great for that. And spiced nuts too. So you get a little savory and a crunch in there. That's really fun to make also.
Well, Debbie, thank you. I think you're making our life easier and inspiring us to get back in the kitchen and not be afraid of or what's for dinner next. I
Yeah.
think I'll be using some of these spices tonight for sure. And I have them here, so I have no excuse. So let's see. I think any final thoughts you'd especially like to share
That's a great question.
with the audience, especially families
Mhm.
out there?
I would encourage everybody out there to definitely, use your senses when you're cooking. How does it smell? Taste your food as you're cooking. Have the kids taste along the way. If they're making something, obviously you can use new spoons. And to help them develop their discerning palate or your discerning palate, if that's not something that you've done in the past. And to, taste as you go, add salt as you go. You don't have to do it all at once. And whatever products you're buying, read the ingredients and see what is the first ingredient that you're getting with any product, whether it's spices or otherwise. And, just to be more conscientious and intentional with whatever it is that you're making.
And putting into your body, right? So, yes. Well, I thank you for all of your wisdom to inspire us in the kitchen. And where can people find you? What is your website?
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me here with you. This has really been a treat. And I love talking about spices. You can find more about us at spiceandleaf.com. We are available on Amazon also, Spice and Leaf, where you can find all of our products. We're Prime, so if you watch this, you can have it in your kitchen probably by tomorrow, if not the next day. And Spice It Up with Deb are the cooking classes that we offer, and you can get there through Spice and Leaf or going to spiceitupwithdeb.com.
Well, thank you so much, Debbie. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'm hoping our paths will cross again soon.
I look forward to it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I love that discussion with Debbie today. Really inspired me to get back into the kitchen on a positive note, because it can kind of drain us at times. We get stuck in a rut, and it's nice to have these spices to make it quick and easy. So I'd love to hear if you have a favorite spice, or if you have a favorite quick breakfast, lunch, or dinner idea that you'd love to share. I think we could all use each other's support in the kitchen because it's an everyday job. And it does take a lot of, I would say, endurance and love to, stay the course. So please leave a comment and share your thoughts. And if you're only listening, head on over to my YouTube channel and you can leave a comment there. And let's get this conversation going. Let's support each other because we need it. And hoping you'll be well until we meet again.